Today we are talking kids with Dr. Caitlynn.
Yeah, she's giving us trick-or-treating safety tips, and we're just a week and a half away from Halloween. So good morning, Doc. How are you?
Well,
We've got Dr. Caitlynn Iddings, a Lexington pediatrician. She is always giving us such valuable information on the morning show, and we're so glad to have her with us today here on Good Day Kentucky. So we're talking about trick-or-treating safety. Halloween is upon us, and you've got a great acronym that will help parents really soak in the information you're about to give to help them make the safest choices for their kids this Halloween.
right, yeah, and the acronym is just easy. We're going to ACE, trick or treat, right? So ACE. So A stands for around the house.
Okay.
So the first thing we need to do is, if we're going to have trick-or-treaters coming to our house, assess the safety around us, right? So making sure we're sweeping off walkways, black walnuts are falling, getting leaves and all the foliage off, making sure it's well lit so that, when it gets dark, kids can kind of see to get up to your porch. And then making sure you also are avoiding any sort of fire hazards, so using LED lights instead of candles and jack-o'-lanterns. Everyone loves a good jack-o'-lantern, but making sure that little kids are prone to kind of sticking their hands in things so that they don't burn themselves and don't catch their costumes on fire.
The last thing we need is a kid running in the woods and burning the whole thing down with the burn alert we got going on.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
yes.
Right. Ooh,
Yeah.
not good. Not
Another
good.
reason, no candles, yeah. And then the C is costume. And so I was going to show you the costume that my 5-year-old chose this year, which is, of course, beautiful, but has this really, it's Elsa, and it has this really long train on it. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at costumes that you are kind of assessing like for fall risk. And so the good thing about this one is the train does come off, so we'll get our pictures and everything, and then we'll pop this off. And you want to make sure if you have any long capes or trains or anything that could possibly trip them up, that you're removing those before you go trick-or-treating, making sure they're wearing good shoes. So, tennis shoes really are best. They may not be as cute with the Elsa costume, but they're going to be doing a lot of walking, and you don't want them tripping over sidewalks or getting blisters.
But I think that's a great strategy that you tell the kids, hey, when we're doing photos, you're all out.
Yeah.
We're safe here. Put on whatever it is that you think you have to be to get with that character.
Yeah.
But when we're out trick-or-treating, safety comes first.
That's right. Yeah, and making sure that we're not walking around with any sharp objects. Don't run with scissors, but don't run with sharp swords, or making sure those are plastic or really dull edges. So if they do fall, they're not impaling themselves. And then we talked earlier about masks, right? So masks are cool, but they really do obscure your vision. And so making sure that if you are wearing a mask, you're being careful to watch them, making sure they're aware of their surroundings, not running out in the middle of traffic because they can't see the periphery. We really do recommend that instead of masks, you try to do non-toxic makeup or face paint, because that is just easier for them to be able to see.
Yeah.
And then the last part of the acronym is the E for eating, right? Everyone wants to come home and eat their candy.
Oh, yes.
So we really encourage you to make sure that you tell the kids, let's wait until we get home to eat any candy, because we talked about those choking hazards before.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure, especially for toddlers and young children, that we're able to kind of go through the basket, take out any sort of non-age appropriate candies that they could choke on, and then not encouraging them to walk around and eat, because that really does increase your risk of choking if you're walking and then you suddenly fall and choke on a piece of candy, right?
Okay.
The other thing is, of course, with like food allergies nowadays, sometimes if you have a peanut allergic kid or something, it's nice if you are going to be trick-or-treating to have some other non-peanut or peanut contaminated foods that you can kind of have kids be able to choose from if they do have those allergies, because that's no fun when you're a kid and you have allergies and you don't have a lot of options. Sometimes non-food options like little spider rings or tattoos, stuff like that they can choose from are a good idea too. And then making sure you're just double checking all of the candy for anything that could have been potentially tampered with or opened. We kind of talked about fentanyl, which I don't think it's likely that someone's going to put fentanyl in your kid's trick-or-treat basket, but making sure that you're just, anything that looks suspect is kind of removed before you let them start eating. And then also, unfortunately nowadays, I don't encourage anyone to hand out any like home-baked or homemade goods. If it's your granny that gave you a
chocolate chip cookie or something,
that's fine, but really trying to avoid any sort of home-baked foods.
But really, what's her angle?
With the chocolate chip cookie. I don't know, Granny.
What's she trying to do? Does she work for Nestle Toll House?
Yeah, what's she up to?
Great advice and good, important things to think about, especially let's say this is someone whose child is their first time trick-or-treating. They've just reached that age. These are things they might not have taken into account as they're heading into the Halloween season.
Sure.
Yes.